Hey guys, this is gonna be a very different thing from my usual content. Well, I'm not exactly uploading every time, but this video is gonna be about, it's gonna be my own video journal. For 30 days, not straight, but 30 days of personal and private journaling about my life and every feeling, everything that happened about the past 30 days or so. Put in that journal. And so, I think, well, first of all, let's lay out what am I going to be doing for the next few days, or every week. Depends on how much time, or definitely not daily today, this week and the next because of finals, but possibly during the break. Anyways, I will be trying to do video journaling, at least either when I feel like it during the week or a weekly thing. But it's better to do it when I feel like it because it's in my mind, it's fresh, and I think I should set a goal. The reason why I'm doing this, well, it's because of my original goal on why I started my personal doc journaling, is to better understand myself, to get my feelings out there, except it's going to be public now. But my goal as well is to possibly be able to give insight, to help someone out there. It's not gonna be just for me. Well, 70% of it's probably gonna just be for me, but because my feelings come out more naturally when I speak, and I feel like vulnerability is one of the key ways to make sense of yourself. And so the first thing I would like to talk about in this whole series is why I did journaling in the first place. Bear with me, because it's gonna be possibly pretty long, because this is what's gonna start everything. Well, it technically started everything already. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Why did I start journaling? Or rather, it's better to go back all the way to the start of this year. The beginning of the year, well, at least the beginning of this year, or more like December, actually. December 2024. December 2024 was when I started to play a lot of Black Ops 6, right? I started to grind zombies, and so I look for, content to watch. Went from YouTube, and then to anime, specifically romance animes. And the more I binge watched these things, the more reality crept onto me, and then, bam, the thought came to me really quick, and the feeling is that, damn, I'm really lonely. I'm really, what's my purpose? Why am I like this? And then it went on a spiral, as usual for about every single, the majority of the populace. Spirals happen. Because, well, it was. When was I 16? I'm 19 right now. So yeah, 3 years ago, 2022. About 2022. Well, 2023 was when I broke up with my ex. On December 2023, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, when I was 17 or 16. Whatever, the detail doesn't matter. I didn't feel anything when I broke up with my ex, or at least at the moment, because I'm pretty sure I acted indifferent. Well, it's because I was pretty indifferent about her. You know how it is. You just go into a relationship just to feel like how it is without knowing the grand cost of things. And the grand cost was not time, because time isn't really a waste if it just happens, How am I saying? Of course that is a waste. But that's not the point. The cost was my own value. Long story short, what broke me from that relationship was my own self-worth. Whether I didn't realize it back then or not. I have this idea of unconditional love. You do everything for them. You shouldn't. At least until they deserve it. Right? I did it right off the bat. I glazed her so much, so to speak, And then, it was a form of manipulation at that point. She wasn't all like that all the time. She was pretty friendly in person, but the true colors over the internet. She would gaslight me, thinking he had done something, and then I just end up apologizing for an empty accusation. And so what did I do wrong? Now I know it's a bunch of baloney back then, but nevertheless, it did impact you. It did impact me. It will impact you. If you never really truly realized, So that's why we broke up. For 9 months that went on, and I just didn't. I actually felt joy when I broke up with her, because it's that picture with the handcuff and the chain breaking. That's what I felt. But 2 years after, it's not that I miss her, but I miss the feeling of being loved, which is literally the classic, feeling that everybody will eventually, feel. And I'm really grateful that this happened early on in my life, so that I know what I should look for in the future. Because the hardest things that hit you emotionally will stick around the most. Which is why it's good to not chase hardships, but to be. Why are my parents outside my room? I can't hear myself think. This headset says like it has good noise canceling. It's a Razer Black Shark V2X. But and then I put in my IEMs, but they're not. Holy moly! I'm gonna pause until they go away. So as I was saying, hardships that it actually help you realize your own core values and whatnot. Anyways, let's branch off from there. Back to the point from where I felt so lonely and whatever. It spiraled into the beginning of the year, which when I started upgrading courses and my, you know what, I'll just say BCIT. Like, there's a lot of people in BCIT and you would never know. But I started my upgrading courses, and I wasn't in the right headspace. I was spiraling about my self-worth for everything, and then I never really made it worthwhile, my grades were not that good. And it ended. I don't think it was worth it, but it did give me. It was better than starting a new school year. Definitely. I think it was more of like a gap, like a half gap year just for me. Because I really needed it. I really needed it. And it got me thinking about everything. It gave me time to think about myself, what I want to be, why I want to be this, my purpose. Well, my first goal was to find my purpose. At least a sense of it, So, that's where, unironically, Siege came in, R6. And it gave me a purpose because I fully dedicated myself to learning Siege for at least 3 months. I have where's my notes on my phone? Okay, so I started on March 20th, which was still during my course, my upgrading courses. So I got started copper at 20th, bronze on 24th, silver on April 5th. Damn. Gold at May 10th. And then plat on May 31st and emerald at June 30th. Which was close to when CJX came out. I would rant about CJX, but that's not the purpose of. Anyways, Siege helped me learn how to learn, which is how I got Emerald in 3 months. I don't know if that's fast. I don't know if that's slow, but 3 months. Then again, it's rank 2.0, so that might be a factor. And it was like 200 games. Yeah, 63 plus 137. Yeah. 200 games. I'm not here to brag, although I am doing it unconsciously, because I like validation, but I don't need it. As I was saying, I learned how to learn. I got my sense of purpose, and then around August is when I chose to reach out to a friend, and I just, out of a whim, I got vulnerable. I told her about like my concerns of like school, and then it branched out to purpose, and she really got me back on my feet. From August until now, she's been the most impactful in my life that has ever transcended, you know. And I like to say that she's my anchor. And we've established that it was purely platonic. Specifically because, well, for one, it's really impossible for us to, go that route of romance, but it would also undermine why, I don't think that a romantic option would be purely viable, because if she said yes, I would not be the man that I would be right now. Never. I wouldn't be who I am now, because I was blinded on the pursuit of love. And so, on October 28th, I started my journaling. I did a Google Doc. I shared it with my best friend. And she gave me insight on it, which is really, really helpful. And it made me question more things that I couldn't question myself. It's always good to have a second opinion, especially on your thoughts of life, and we kind of complement each other in that way. Paying it forward, huh? But on the start of the journaling, I didn't really have a lot of, self-worth. I think journaling really snowballed alongside my best friend. It really snowballed my internal thoughts. Like, I was focusing on the things that didn't matter. It was superficial, right? Before I started journaling, I was chasing validation. I was anxious. I was prone to spiraling. I didn't know myself as much as I do now. after I'd done a lot of journaling, a lot of thinking to myself, those 30 days I feel like was worth more than a lot of stuff. And since I'm in my, first year, technically, um, since I was in my first year, these past 3 months have taught me a lot on how to regulate my emotions, to be more secure within myself. Um, I just looked back a bit. I realized I said 3 months. Um, Actually, yeah, 3 months. And when I started my journaling, it probably skyrocketed from there. Basically, what I really internalize is that I don't need a girlfriend. And not for the reasons that, well, yes, for the reasons that other content creators say. But recently, oh no, if my set is actually looking this is cooked. I'm kidding. I don't care. Um, well, recently, well, for the past 3 months, I was looking for a partner. Uh, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna talk my stuff. All right. On what was it? The first month, or the end of the first month, I was talking to this girl, and like 4 months in, not 4 months, 4 days in, not straight, but 4 days in, and a sick day in between that same week. On Friday, she's like, "Are you hanging out with me for any other intention? For Are you hanging out with me for any for other for what was the wording? For any other intention than being friends, other than being friends or whatever, implying that I was talking to her for purely for starting a romantic relationship. And I told my truth. I liked her because of her character. That we had a lot of interests, and I genuinely had fun talking to her. And then she gave me the old I have a partner. I know that it's either. No, I know that's a lie. I'm not outing her. I would understand. For a guy to just come up to you and just befriend you just like that, and it felt like she was genuinely interested. Possibly not interested, just enjoying the conversation. I don't know if she got spooked or anything, but I told my Ninong, my godfather, and he said who does that? I know it's bizarre, but I understand. But yeah. I am, but if she's listening to this, it's not because I didn't stop talking to you in spite of, like still saying that I'd rather stay friends with you. And we come to mutual agreement that we'd stay friends, but if she's listening, I didn't stop talking to you because I had bad or something other than, those intentions, but I stopped talking because, well, first of all, I was sort of like my ego hurt. Just a little bit. It was like, damn, okay. But it was more out of respect. I didn't want to make her any more uncomfortable as it seems. Because I thought that we had something, at least a little bit going on. But I'm naive. I don't know how, because that's the first time I've ever tried on, quote unquote, hitting on someone. Excuse me. I don't know, that picked up. But I imagine that's just one of the many flavors of responses. And then it moved on to another girl, which I tried befriending, and then a rumor broke out. Well, not broke out, but a little bird told me that they had a internet girlfriend, quote unquote. Holy moly. If this actually reaches my set, it's cooked. Nah, I don't care. I'm ready for the repercussions because it's my vulnerabilities, and part of me wants them to actually see this. Honestly. In fact, I should probably put D&D so I don't get disturbed. For 1 hour. D&D for 1 hour. No, that's idle. Okay. But, anyways. As I was saying. What was I saying? Give me a sec. Alright. Yeah. Internet girlfriend thing. Which kind of blew me away. Because we kind of progressed. And it was giving me mixed signals, but she another bird told me that she thought of me as a really good friend. And honestly, I was fine. I was honestly fine. That was honestly fine. I couldn't care anymore because I was so emotionally and my energy was at a all time. Like I'm just tired. I couldn't be bothered. So I just dropped the whole. I didn't try anymore, but I kept as we were. And this topic came to be because of feelings of loneliness, right? For a girlfriend, with my best friend, and everything. Yeah. Backtracking to that, I don't feel like I need a girlfriend anymore. Because my best friend practically gives me everything that I need to have, except for the physical comfort, which obviously is a necessity. I mean, starving from being touch starved. I can't even talk anymore. Being touch starved is obviously something to address, but if you have everything but, you know, but one thing, you know, it's not gonna make or break you unless it's really important. So I guess it's not truly a necessity, but human interaction is built into us, right? Maybe physical or whatever, you know. But she matters to me so much and given me so much value that to this point, I don't think I need a girlfriend. Because, for one, she means so much to me to the point where why would I get a girlfriend if she's anything less than my best friend? Right? Why would I? Like, they're probably not gonna be worth it. I mean, people would look for love for the wrong reasons, right? You could say that, like, oh, I want to feel loved because it makes me feel good. Alright, that's one thing. But is that gonna be the sole reason why you want love? No. Love, as my best friend once said, is about supporting one each other. I actually put like a lot of traits on what I want as for a partner. It was like ambition. It was about modesty. You know, I could probably pull it up. It's not gonna actually totally destroy my impromptus, you know, if that's the right word. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it was about ambition, being secure, to reciprocate, to communicate, um, you know, contributing, supporting one another, emotionally, being emotionally mature to understand the vulnerability and doesn't make the relationship feel like super draining. You know, I mean, like, I could expand on that, but maybe later. Um, when I'm in a relationship, I wanna feel like I can be myself. There's no pressure. Um, she could be humble, and I did say modest. Um, they can be honest, brutally honest if they could, and to be nurturing. But yeah, it's a lot of standards, but you know, if they're not, obviously, I could work with some of it, but if they don't have like these most important things, then yeah, you're off. I know my worth. I know what I want to stand up for. I want to know. I know what I should, you know, what I deserve. Love isn't about feeling happy. I just got brutally um, interrupted by my mother. She usually knocks, but I guess not now. But anyways, what was I saying? Uh, Give me a sec. Right. Love isn't about feeling happy. It's a grand thing of things. Grand scheme. What is that word? Whatever. You get the gist. It's like it's multifaceted. Love is about being there for someone. It's about supporting one another. It's about all these things. And it was, and me realizing that I don't need a girlfriend right now is a part of who I am right now. It is a big contribution of what I stand for right now. I feel like I should switch the topic of what I am right now, which is a really good question. It's nice to reflect about what your values are right now. So you don't what your values are. It's just you need to recall, right? You need to understand whether it makes sense or not. My values are, well, the first thing that comes to mind right now is my worldview. I used to think that, I still think about it, but it's at a different perspective. My worldview was that, before this new one, my worldview is that everyone, or a great majority of people, were fake. No matter what, no, But I've come to realize that no one is inherently fake. They just never began to look within themselves. They haven't healed. Everyone has some sort of unresolved, I wouldn't say trauma necessarily, but experiences within themselves. Their mind, heart, body are not exactly one, right? They're really separated. And so mine was really separated. I mean, my mind and heart. I knew what my heart wanted, but my mind never really set my heart straight, per se. It never really told my heart this is not what you're supposed to be thinking, or yada yada. But yeah, I used to think that everyone is fake, but they're not inherently fake. It's just that I can't tell whether the people that I walk past knows who they are. Does anyone, honestly? Maybe not. But are these noties? Anyways. I just wonder if the people I walk past, or if my classmates, at least some, are living in blissful ignorance. Now, I know it sounds sounds so demeaning, but people say like, "Oh, you're a real one," or "You're a fake one," when they refer to people as friends. Like I'm not talking about that necessarily. Anyone could be like considerate and whatever, but those tropes where like they pretend that everything is good on the outside, but they're not really on the inside. It's because they never really, like, you could say that you tried, but in reality, have you? Have you ever really looked at yourself? What makes you tick? Why you tick like this? Why you have these thoughts? Why do you look at yourself and say, I could do more, but I'm not, because growth is scary and I'd rather to live in my own comfort zone. Okay, that's probably not everybody's thought, but something like that. Because I'm still trying to figure out myself, and I'm far from being one with myself. But I'm in a whole lot of better mindset of what I was 30 days ago, or something like that. And all these experiences, you'd think I'm doing this to myself, but I'm not super duper religious, right? But I still pray every day, and one of my prayers was like, Lord, give me hardships that I would learn from, without burning myself out, because burnout is a really, really true thing emotionally too. But all these experiences it's a necessary evil. And maybe that's why my mindset has drastically changed these past 3 months, these past 4 months, because it was August when best friend. I need a burp. Anyways, as I was saying, what was I saying? No, it's coming back. Yeah, the journaling. I was I'm at a very good, like, if you compare my mindset from back then, yeah, it's night and day. You was probably thinking, how are you more secure? How are you more understanding of yourself? When it comes to understanding where your original thoughts are and reverse engineering them, in a sense. I never thought that I did reverse engineering until I just said it just now, but it actually is. Like, reverse engineering why you felt this way, for example. Why was I so, hell bent on getting a girlfriend? Because it was lonely. what's there to be, you know? I mean, you can be lonely, but what's there to be lonely when you have someone like my best friend? Or is there really any rush to get, well, at that point, most people, a lot of people don't have an anger. They've been raw dogging everything, especially myself. No. And it's really easy to get lost in the sea of negativity. Because it's not a good place. People root in negativity because it's the only thing they ever known. It's the only thing that they ever experienced. And for that to, you know, to stay this way, they never really grow out of their comfort zone, because growth happens outside the comfort zone. It's foreign, it's scary. Which is why I did like feeling the pain, the discomfort. Sometimes I'd relive painful memories because, you know, I like feeling that, but there's a time where you think that, like, you're associating pain with growth, but you don't always have to be in pain to grow. Pain is a teacher, but it's still something that is inherently bad to you if not used in this grand purpose. Holy moly, it's like 47 minutes already. I didn't think I was talking that much. Maybe I should start wrapping it up then. I have so much to talk about. No, not really. Feels like I do, but I don't. It's just, well, the first topic was how I came to this way, and it branched out to what I learned from it. It branched out to love. I think it would be good to talk about values in other videos, or if that comes to mind, right? But it's hard to name values. Like, you know what your values are, right? You have that feeling. It's just, I don't want to get confronted about anything just yet. Actually, not really. I don't care. Or do I say that now because I am defending myself? And in reality, I am partly insecure. And then there's me just saying that I'm partly insecure, but I really... No, I still worry about what other people think. Not from randos, like, I don't care about their opinion if it's not helpful, but for those who I care about, you know what? It's my own values. I don't care. I shouldn't care. Because why do I have to care about people's opinions? that goes for everybody else. If someone is just telling you you should be this, do that, they're not you. You are you. You can't take crap. Like, you, granted, humans are wired for validity, right? For validation. You should, your brain needs feedback. But once you start to validate your own thoughts based on your morals, your beliefs, then, the answer kind of comes right at your face. It's something that you don't need to, like, trust your gut. It helps if, you do something like this, journaling, which is part of the purpose of why I showed my personal written journal for, to see whether it's my thoughts were valid at that point. And my best friend, but she doesn't say that this is bad, this is incorrect, this da 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 da. But she challenged my thoughts on whether this is, she asks a question based on my question sometimes, which helps a lot. I've been thinking about this for some time. How does she do this? I mean, it comes naturally to her, probably. But I like helping, so why is it harder for me to do it? I mean, it's not hard. But it feels like whenever we talk, my best friend and I, it feels like it's a lot about me. I mean, I help her in her own thoughts. I mean, she wanted me to. And, it's easier to give out opinions for when they don't really care. And in fact, well, when they even invite it, But I just wonder, how is she so good at reconciling my thoughts? Oh, probably because she had the same thoughts. I mean, we have the same, mindset. Well, similar at best. But we have some common ground, really, really common ground on views, but there are more different views on some aspects, but damn. I don't know. That's something for me to do, to find out. You can't look for an angry person. It just happens. Where was I going with that? Right. From what I've learned, introspection and similar things like taking action. Yeah, you could have someone to give you that push, to invoke thoughts into you. But at the end of the day, you're the one who has to make all of the They can't think for you. They can't tell you. If you want to truly internalize that, that's all you. You are your own validator. You are your own. I don't want to say fixer, but you're the only one who can do it at the end of the day. Not saying that you have to raw dog everything. Because if you just raw dog everything, it's just going to be a loop of pain and suffering, and then you won't get anywhere. But you have to also balance pragmatism with your emotions. Like, I got brutally interrupted again, but all in all, story short, it's all you. At the end of the day, at least for all this introspection, and I'm throwing that word a lot, but you get what I mean, or not. That's it for this. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down, please. I mean, it'll help a lot. Not just for me, but for others who are thinking the same thing. And yeah, take it easy, and I'll see you whenever. Thank you for sitting with me.